Give me a minute. I want to talk about the differences between the Ukrainian invasion of Russia and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Right off the bat, the first thing that we see is freedom of the press. This guy from CNN is at the border reporting on how the Ukrainians are in charge. There's no sign of Russian presence. The Ukrainians are moving freely, right? He's a Western reporter reporting freely from inside a liberated territory of an autocratic nightmare. And he's not the only one. The Italians are there too. And so right off the bat, we see something, not the news blackout that the Russians enforced when they came into Mariupol. Oh no. They're not hunting journalists. The Ukrainians are welcoming them in. For anybody who hasn't seen 120 Days in Mariupol, take a look at 120 Days in Mariupol if you want to understand the difference between Russia and Ukraine. Now, this is not all. We're seeing emptied towns, emptied villages, people running away, as opposed to the Ukrainians who went out and got guns and got their grandmas to teach them how to make Molotov cocktails, who met the Russians in the street with force of arms, who held up a column, a 41-kilometer column of tanks and trucks, and preyed on them mercilessly in order to prevent them from getting to Kyiv, and thus save the city. It's a very different world than where the Russians today are just running away. And then there's the treatment of civilians. In Sudza, we have video of locals out shopping, being told that they're not being harassed, or telling the reporters that they're not being harassed by the Ukrainians, that the Ukrainians are telling them to live peacefully, stay inside, right? That's it. No problems. No problems. Except those created by the Russians. These two women were detained by Ukrainian security forces because they were looting the homes of their neighbors. In the video, they've got shopping carts full of their neighbors' belongings. Their neighbors fled, they broke in and robbed the joint. This is Russia, right? This is Russia. Now, we're also seeing the portrait of Putin destroyed by the locals before the Ukrainians arrive. They're tearing down the portraits of Putin as they're fleeing, apparently. So the two situations, the responses of the local populations couldn't be more different. In the one case, a free and independent people took up arms to save themselves. In the other, a people who have been apoliticized, been told not that they have no power, that they have no influence, that they should stay out of politics, have been told this for 500 years, have either fled or are behaving as a kind of docile population under occupation. This is the difference. Ukraine is not Russia, and Russia is not Ukraine.